Hey, I'm Wade Pinder, host of What's Up Houston, a local podcast where we talk with different things in the innovation, startup, and innovation ecosystem here in Houston. I'm here today at the Hylio headquarters in Richmond, Texas, with the CEO, Arthur. Hey, Arthur, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, super happy to be here today. So we just finished up a tour of the Hylio complex here. We're hanging out in the Hylio hangar. We got a live audience here. We'll need to be conscious to speak up to the back of the stage. But welcome everybody. We're glad you're here with us today. So give us a little bit of the Hylio origin story. How'd you guys get here?
It's a bit of a long story, so I'll try to be concise. I actually started the company with three other University of Texas Longhorn students. So two of them are in the room right now. There's Nick, there's Mike. So Nick's our chief of operations, co-founder. Mike is our chief financial officer, co-founder, and our CTO, Nikhil. He's not here right now physically, but the four of us started the company back, 11 years ago, back in 2015. It's kind of the dorm room story. So at UT, we're involved in the startup space. Josh Baer through Capital Factory has a Longhorn startup lab class that he actually used to teach it. I'm not sure if he does himself anymore, but back in the day, we took his class, got into the startup scene then, but really just used the university, used like their machine shop, connections there, and built out the early version of the company there, as in like we were prototyping the hardware and the software while attending school. And then by the time we all graduated in 2017, that's when we actually took the very early product we had and then tried to commercialize it. And so the first thing we did in 2017 after graduating was we took our drone, which we advertised as a multi-purpose delivery platform. So for parcel delivery of like medicine and alcohol and anything that people want to deliver quickly.
Wait a second, I want to interrupt you. Like I could get a drone to deliver alcohol to me at my house.
Sure,
Like,
yeah.
Okay, that's a win. Okay.
And I mean, so it had like I think a 20-pound payload capability, which is like peanuts compared to what we do today. And it could fly maybe, let's say 3 miles out and 3 miles back. And basically, I mean, I tell this story a lot, but there was so much hype back then. So this is, again, like 2016, 2017. There's a lot of hype about drone delivery. And companies like Zipline were just coming online. Zipline just got a lot of funding, so they're making the rounds now again. But Google Wing and like Amazon Prime Air, these were all ideas that were just starting. So we caught the bug a little bit, so to speak, and we said, hey, what if we make like a democratized drone delivery platform that anybody could buy and use, and build out a software interface that made it like relatively easy for entrepreneurs or even big corporations to access the technology. So we made this delivery drone, like MVP, minimum viable product, took it to Central America because at the time, 2017, it wasn't legal to do any drone delivery here in the States. Arguably, it's still very restrictive legally. Only the biggest companies can kind of do it right now, right? So we did that for a few years. Didn't make a lot of money doing it, frankly. It was a very fun technical challenge. We grew a lot as a company, as an engineering team, doing the challenge of doing drone delivery, by day and then by night, improving the product and iterating on the software and the hardware. But it wasn't, the product market fit wasn't there. So then we pivoted to ag, and that happened, let's say 2018. So from 2018 to today, we grew out our ag product line, our ag technology, and that's what we've been focusing on really ever since. But we can get into it.
So yeah, that pivot into ag, what was that moment where it was like, okay, delivery. Oh, wait a second, there's an opportunity here in ag. How'd that come about?
Very organically. So like I mentioned, we're working in Central America, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and it's like down there, the economy is very agriculturally focused. And so we'd be doing a delivery. So we were working with local companies down there. We'd be doing a delivery of, beer or coffee or whatever it was. But, off the side of the road, there's tons of farmers just working. And we kind of saw like, let's say a lot of inefficiencies in the way they did a lot of agriculture down there manually. So like, spreading fertilizer and pesticides by hand. So we kind of had this idea that there's a lot of disruption there. And then basically we got to working with some of our partners in the delivery project who had connections in the ag space. And it was just a natural pivot, using those connections and building out the business network with them. We were like, hey, in 3 or 4 months, we could take our delivery drone, and instead of delivering, food or whatever, we could just outfit it to deliver agrochemicals in a very precise way. So actually, it wasn't like a big engineering lift for us. It was a relatively easy transition. And then really, I mean, once we did it, it ended up being a fantastic decision. I mean, financially, for one, because we went from making maybe like 3 or 4 bucks in an hour because you do like 1 or 2 deliveries, and like a delivery fee can be like, yeah, a couple of bucks, especially in Central America where the cost of living is lower. So like you're not really making that much money. But an hour of spraying with your drones, even
Sure,
down
right.
there, I mean, you're making like hundreds of dollars.
Mhm.
So it was like a 0 to 1 moment in terms of our company's like cash flow and
Wow, wow.
product market fit and all that. And of course, like that early revenue success, switching to ag is what fueled everything that we have
Nice,
today,
nice.
pretty
I was
much.
looking at some of your pictures in your lobby, and, I think you went into sugarcane first. Did you know anything about sugarcane or, like,
No, we
uh
learned it on the job.
uh
And I mean that in the hardest way possible. So I mean, we still are very hands on. So we retrofitted our delivery drone tech to be spray drone tech, and that took a 3 to 4 months, if I recall correctly. And then the first thing we did was take it out and spray it and operate it ourselves. So in a lot of ways, we were our own first customer because we were building the drone tech in house. So the software and the hardware, it had a lot of bugs. Yeah, just it was really rough around the edges. It was an early product. So we went out and used it as if we were spray applicator, someone that would have bought our drones, right? And then every time that we went out and tried to spray, a 100-acre job or 200-acre job, and we had software issues or hardware issues in the field, I mean, we felt that directly on our bottom and our top line. So that's actually where the product development, like it was really accelerated because like we were feeling every failure.
Mhm.
So we'd go out and spray and make money spraying, and we might get paid, 10 bucks an acre, if that. Often it was even less than that. So not like a ton of money, actually, in the grand scheme of things. But every time we had a delay or something, we felt it.
So
And
it sounds
so
like you actually got paid to do your field testing in production,
that's
which is
yes.
a great, it's a great gig if you can get it.
That's a good way of looking at it. We always say it was like our West world, where it's just like
Uh,
our robot playground down in Central
uh,
America, where
uh,
I mean, there's less regulation, and it's not to say that we weren't operating safely and responsibly, but there's less prying eyes in general, and we were able to kind of fail fast and cheap down there, and then
uh.
bring it up here to the States.
So I was really surprised today. I know you've been around for a bit, but to hear you've been around for 11 years.
Yes.
And from my perspective, I get out and about a good bit. You guys hit my radar about a year and a half ago. From my perspective, it's almost like you guys are operating under the radar. Is that kind of the case?
You could say that, and suffering from our own success in a lot of ways, because I think, and this is just my opinion, but I think a lot of the startups that have a lot of media buzz, um, they're very intentionally doing that because, no offense, but sometimes they don't actually have a product, so they're going to go buzz first and hype
Mhm.
first, and then build the product on the back end. And that there's something to say about that model, sure, but like we also didn't take a lot of high profile VC funding. It's not that we were necessarily completely opposed to it, but we were just so successful with our product market fit, and we were able to basically just grow off our own profits of selling product already, that we didn't really need this big high profile funding. So
Mhm.
we didn't go out and get like the Sequoia money or whatever, not to say that we could have anyway, but like, we didn't have that just like presence that you typically see in the startup circles, because we were just frankly just busy being really successful selling product already and growing off of our own profits. So we've
So it
been
sounds
very
like
capital efficient.
it's a real bootstrap. Oftentimes I hear founders talk about bootstrap, but they're really reaching into their own pockets and personal savings as
Which we
opposed to
did.
taking. Well, I know that happens, right? But it sounds like you had revenue coming in that you poured back into the company.
Yes. I mean, I'm not saying we didn't have a lot of money. I mean, we were college kids, so I mean, I took my money from my internship and poured it into the business, but that only lasted a few months. And then, yes, it was do or die. So then, to your point, we had to start making money, and we did, and then here we are. So, very fortunate, also just very gritty and strategic, and like we got lucky, but also we were thinking ahead.
Now, you've been kind of, I don't want to say unconventional exactly, but I don't even want to say traditional because this model's only been around for like 20, 30 years. But your fundraising, you've kind of gone a different path than a lot of startups do. What's that look like for you so far?
Yeah, so like I said, we didn't take any like institutional big name venture capital. I mean, no venture capital funding, period, in the first place. But there's this relatively new thing called equity crowdfunding. And so we got the Start Engine people tuning in, I think some amount of people. I don't know how many right
Start
now.
engine. Yeah.
But it's like a really cool, flexible, new approach to fundraising because I mean, it's almost like a mini IPO. So how it works is, and there's different platforms. Really, you create a pitch, like a digital pitch, a page to present your idea, and then you let anybody on the internet invest in your company. So what you get out of that is, of course, capital, but also just the way it's set up. It's 1,000 people each investing some hundreds or low thousands of dollars, meaning that like you as a company retain all your control. So you're not giving up board seats. There's not big money guy, big bank or something calling the shots. So in a dynamic industry like we've been in, which is, I mean, like 1 year in the drone space is like 50 years in like a traditional industry, right? So you need to be able to make decisions really quickly. You can't sit there and kind of have like a big board meeting about projections and whatnot because that could change like on a dime. So like it really helped us to have that flexibility and like retain control strategically of the company so we could be dynamic enough to get to where we are today.
That's really cool. I think in a lot of ways, we have a lot of hard tech here in Houston. You guys are serving as a road model for a way that's possible to get to like an inflection point where other forms of venture money, their money may not be patient enough to get to the point that you're at now to accelerate. So I really admire what you all have done.
That's a fair point
with that. And thanks to you all out there at Start Engine for helping bring this story along, right? So, I've heard recently that there is a FCC ban on foreign drones that's coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's hard to appreciate unless you're in the industry like we are every day. But essentially, what happened was December 22nd of last year, so just a few months ago, the FCC decided, and this was a surprise, frankly, to like almost everybody in the industry. They put forth regulations stating that from that point forward, all foreign drones and what they call critical foreign drone components, critical drone components that are foreign made, are all banned on a go forward basis. And so, in practice, it's like, for example, we have a competitor called DJI, very well known company. They make most of the world's drones. So their current models that are being sold in the United States are okay. They already have an FCC license, so they're authorized, but they can't launch a new model into the market.
Mhm.
So it's on a go forward, like a new model basis. So everything is kind of like but this is the last generation for foreign made drones, and then everything going forward in the market has to be U.S. made, or at least like majority U.S. made. And they actually specified, to get into the weeds a little bit, 65% or more of the cost of components have to be U.S. made for this
Mhm.
to qualify and for them to be legal to sell in the United States.
Mhm.
So,
So anybody who's made an investment in those so far gets to keep using those, but
yes.
anything new, right?
Yeah, and they've allowed for like an off ramp or like a sunset kind of situation here.
Uh,
But yeah, of course, it's like forward looking, as in like it's supposed to force the issue and really bring back onshore U.S. manufacturing of drones and drone components.
so it sounds like that opens up a huge opportunity for you here in the U.S. market. What's that look like for
Massive
you?
opportunity. So it's like, yeah, DJI had 80% of the global drone market and the US drone market for that matter too. So I mean, you can imagine the impact of an 80% market share player being wiped out virtually overnight. And of course, that's a huge vacuum and opportunity for us. We've been here for 11 years. So I'll add that we've been competing with DJI on merit the whole time
Mhm.
and growing despite, having this big player. DJI has been leveraging all the tricks that they can leverage as like a multi-billion-dollar company, scale manufacturing, like army of engineers. We've still competed with them for a reason, right? We zig when they zag, and we made strategic decisions. Now that they're gone, of course it benefits us, and
Mhm.
like we're gonna just really step on the gas pedal. And now that we've got this, air cover, so to speak, from the U.S. government, we didn't ask for it, we didn't lobby for it, but of course we're gonna take advantage of it. So, yeah, we've been primed and ready. We've been preparing for this moment, and yeah, we're just ready to really grow.
What's the U.S. manufacturer competition space look like for you here in
It's
the U.S.?
sparse because, yeah, it's another like just beautiful thing about our positioning is, um, you know, admittedly, when you have a huge dominant player like DJI in the space, a lot of like other like venture capitalists and stuff are going to look at that market and say like, hey, they already got it on lock. Why would we try to go in and like, disrupt that when like there's this massive player? But Hylio, we've been here for 11 years and we were, like I said, just growing the whole time. So we kind of we grandfathered ourselves in a little bit. So all these other players like, didn't, I mean, they wanted to enter the market, they felt like they couldn't. And so, I mean, here we are. Like we're the only ones that had the wherewithal to give it a shot 11 years ago. And you could argue that was foolish and maybe like, a hard-nosed investor wouldn't have supported that. But,
Right.
We're founder bootstrapped and like we made the right call. And
So here we are now, right? As you say, where's Hylio at? And then like, what are you actively looking at fundraising now? Because I imagine you're looking at some ways of scaling up and taking advantage of this. I assume it's going to take a lot of capital.
sure.
What's fundraising looking like for you guys these days?
Yeah, we haven't had to fundraise very much, which I just was talking about for a bit, but really time is of the essence. And so we're not going to have this first mover advantage. I mean, to answer your question directly, like we are basically the only US manufacturer of any significant size that's making agricultural drones right now. So like there's virtually no competition yet, but for sure there are plenty of people that now with DJI gone and other foreign drones banned are thinking about entering the market. So right now it's time to strike. It's time to capitalize. We got the first mover advantage. We get an injection of, we're seeking to raise 20 million in capital right now. This is going to go towards production. So, I mean, we're in the production building right now, supercharging this building, building additional infrastructure and additional buildings to supercharge our production further, really capture that demand vacuum that's being left by the other players leaving. So big portion of that goes to production. Then the other half of it, more or less, goes to product development and research and development. So, I mean, we're quite ambitious. DJI is gone. I hate to keep comparing ourselves to DJI, but there's no reason that Hylio can't be the Western DJI. And like, we're going to be totally different. We're going to do things a lot better than they do. We already do in certain categories. I mean, they're a good company, but I mean, we have an opportunity here with the capital in this very moment to really just like, let's say, achieve escape velocity and become like the Western drone company. Now, there's big companies that are big in the defense space, but I mean like the commercial side, like the household name, like the drone that you're going to see on your farm, or even like as we get into more commercial and private side stuff or industrial side stuff. I mean, the drone that you're going to see, spraying your front lawn or your flowers, the drone that you're going to see treating the golf course, like that could all be Hylio. So we really hope to be like that ubiquitous, infrastructural player.
So you're hinting at that. We'll go there with a line of questioning next, which is, right, you've been playing in the agricultural space. I think that's really been, you've gotten really good traction there. I think you solved a real problem area for folks. What's the next 2, 3 like areas that you see opening up for you, industry wise or use case wise?
Sure. Yeah. So, like I said, we did delivery first, and so I talk about the sideways hourglass of like what our target market was. So when we talked to me 11 years ago, it's like we're at this side of the hourglass, and I'm like, oh, our drones can do anything. It can do X, Y, and Z, like all the above. So that's like media, defense, like cinematography stuff, whatever, ag. And then you get to the middle portion of Hylio, the past like 5 or 6 years, where it's like the narrow part of the hourglass, where it's like we were super focused on ag because it was like, I mean, that's how you make a name for yourself as a company. You pick something and you do really well, right? You focus on one thing, you do it really well, and you just like grow your competencies from there. So now we're getting back to the wide part of the hourglass where it's like, okay, we've got the engineering know-how, we got the institutional knowledge. This isn't our first rodeo. We're 11 years in. We know what we're doing when it comes to product design and launching and supporting. So now we can kind of, relatively easily go to these other verticals. So there's stuff like industrial services. That could be inspection of infrastructure. That could be an inspection of bridges or construction sites. That could be like power washing applications. So a lot of people are using the bigger drones these days. They're putting a power wash on them. They're washing windows. They're washing buildings like roofs. So there's this industrial services side. And of course, there's like the defense side of things. And it's not just defense in like the kinetic war sense, just emergency response in general. So that's, defense and battlefield cases. There's a big push, of course, by the U.S. government right now to build out the U.S. warfighter drone capabilities. So of course, like that's something we could play in as well. but even just like fire departments and police stations, just, going out and finding perpetrators or finding people to rescue in like an emergency situation. Really, there are a ton of use cases for the drone tech, and it's very much like now becoming a platform technology. So, like it's okay if you talk to NVIDIA, like, yeah, 10 years ago, what were they using their products for? It was video games. And like, I remember playing, games on my PC and you'd have the NVIDIA logo pop
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Sure, good business back then, but I mean, no one really could have predicted
Who knew?
how important they'd
Yeah,
be now,
who knew?
right?
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing with us. It's like, yes, we've been doing ag, and that's a very important use case in itself. But like, I think the future is just so wide open for like this stuff becoming really like, yes, so infrastructurally important for so many different industries. I mean, the foundational technology that so many other things are built on, right? Drone tech in general.
Any comments you want to make about that, about maybe becoming like a manufacturing platform or licensing opportunities or different things?
Yeah, it feeds into what I'm describing, which is like we're at this inflection point where, and of course, like the regulatory stuff helps. I mean, that's like a catalyst for this. But even besides, foreign drones getting banned, there was always this need for a player to come in, which I hope and think Hylio could be, to be that, you might not even see a drone in a year or two, and it doesn't say Hylio on it, but we're under the hood. So we're like the critical sensors, the critical avionics, the flight controller, the radio. We're the software, and maybe that's white labeled, but we become like the top of the food chain, this player, the substrate that's powering the drone revolution. And I really think we're positioned in a way right here where we could be that player, and that's what the capital's for massive scaling. So we are not just selling to end users, we are selling to the businesses that are selling to end users. All of the above, also to the end users.
So we got a few more questions coming up for those of you watching on Start Engine right now. If you want to submit some questions, we'll have a little bit of time of Q&A. Do we have any of those coming in so far? All right, put those in. Sure, sure. Put those in. We're going to keep on talking for a couple minutes, but now's your time to go ahead and submit those. So, I gotta say, like, I've been really impressed, walking in here today, that feeling of electricity on your team. I'm noticing that. Seems like you've built a world-class team here. How you been recruiting folks and everything?
Well, Houston's great. I'm a Houstonian. I think we're underrated in a lot of ways. But Houston's got a great young population. It's 8 million people in the greater Houston area.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's plenty of bodies and like tons of people in the automotive backgrounds, HVAC, energy, people that are good with their hands, just willing to come in here and work and tinker. So that's something you get from Houston that you're not going to get from like a Silicon Valley or some of these other, so to speak, hubs. So I think, yeah, it's kind of an underrated city for starting like a physical tech startup like we have.
Yeah, I helped Greater Houston Partnership out with a few things, and one of the things I heard him say recently was that Houston is one of the only major markets where there's an increasing number of 18 to 25-year-olds that have skilled labor. So you're telling me you're finding that here.
Yeah, you feel it. We got great teams that recruit every day, basically, because we're growing. And yeah, there's no shortage of candidates. Now, our job, of course, is to pick the best ones and train them up and so on and so forth. But you got guys that are good with their hands. You also have developers. You've got like techie people. I mean, really, Texas and Houston's got it all.
Awesome. Yeah, I think you guys are a great use case or story for the Houston area. So wonderful. We got any questions coming in?
I got a couple questions.
All right.
Are your drones green or blue list approved?
So the question, so everybody can hear, are the drones green or blue list approved? Don't know what that means, but I bet you do, right?
Yeah. So no, the 2 and 1 are the same now. So green list, as of executive order last year, is now equivalent to blue list, and this all happened on the back end. But basically, the green list is a auditing process that's put on by private entities. So organization called AUVSI, which we're part of, is a private entity, and they have arranged assessors to come in and basically do like a cybersecurity audit of both your product, your technology, but also your company. And so at the end of this whole auditing process, basically you get a stamp of approval, which is like the green list certification, which tells the US government that these people have met certain cybersecurity standards and country of origin standards, meaning that they are like safe and legal and compliant to be sold and used in the United States. And this is, so like, we brought up Wade, the FCC ruling in December. So if you're green listed / blue listed, you would be safe to be sold in the United States. And you would, by definition, be U.S. made enough to be, legally sold here. So the green list, and just to bring that full circle, green list is now an on-ramp to blue list. So when you get the green list, you become blue listed, because the green list organization will take your certification, tell the Department of War now, as it's called, that you guys are good, and then you're blue listed. So I know that was kind of like nitty gritty. Hylio is going through the process right now of green listing. So we're probably a month out, give or take. We've passed like the hardware portion of it, which is like they actually take your product, they tear it down, they look at all the chips, where they come from, and they make sure that's country of origin secure and all that. So we're done with that, and now we're doing kind of like the cybersecurity hygiene portion, which is more of like on the corporate side. So they're going to come audit, like, what's the IT structure at Hylio, physically, who's allowed to download certain programs on certain computers. And it's on the corporate side, not the product side now. So in about a month, we'll probably have that done.
Cool. Well, thanks for that question. We have any other ones coming in?
I got one more.
Yep.
So Daniel's asking, with raising 20 million, what is your current and anticipated manufacturing capacity in a year in the units?
So right now,
so manufacturing capacity in a year with 20 million raised, I think is what I heard there.
Yeah. So right now we can do, at this very moment, like around 1,000 units a year. And we're projecting out of this building alone doing 5,000 or more units per year with this funding. So that's, of course, a ramp up. I'm not saying we get the funding that happens tomorrow, but over the next, let's say, 2 years or so, we'd ramp up from about 1,000 a year to 5,000 or more per year. And that's just out of this building. So, these things have long tails, but we could get the funding, turn around, start construction on a new facility, and that might be done in 2028, but it could be a massive, like a 300,000 square foot building, and we'd be able to do, several dozens of thousands of drones per year out of that building.
Cool. So we'll go ahead and turn it over to our live audience here. Does anybody have any questions for Arthur while we're here? All right, yes, sir.
A similar question. You're the #1 spray drone manufacturer in the U.S. today. What do you have to do to stay on top?
What keeps you on top?
I'm saying 40%, 50% of the money we're raising is going to innovation on the product side. I mean, at the end of the day, we are a tech company, and the only protection, the moat you have in this game is, are you more innovative and valuable than the other options? And so being first mover, we've got this huge head start. But really, a lot of this money is going towards, I always say, the holy grail, which is like completely automating from end to end our product stack. So right now, users of our drones, if any drone really in the industry, still have to do a lot of manual tasks. They're swapping the batteries, they're charging the batteries, they're swapping the payload. If you completely automate that, this becomes a massively scalable technology, because the operator needs no training, they need no licensing, in fact. So, I mean, really, anyone could buy this thing, plop it down if it's a drone in a box solution, and it could be, therefore, like massively proliferated in multiple industries. So we're going to be the first and the best people to get to that full autonomous end-to-end holy grail solution. And then it's just like, boom, like scale city for this technology.
Well, Arthur, we just hit the half-hour mark. I see we have another question coming in. Studio audience, does anybody else raise your hand if you got something, just so I know for Q? Okay, we'll take this one last question, and then we'll go ahead and end it there.
One more question. How are you incorporating AI, ML into flight operations? An example, do you anticipate autonomous identification and treatment of weeds, for instance?
Okay. So the question coming in was, are you going to incorporate AI, ML, and like identifying problems in the field, like weeds or fungus that come up?
Yes. In fact, we already started this years ago. We haven't quite productized this side of the business yet, but we have already begun training models to identify weeds, like they pointed out. And that's, of course, like the most obvious first use case in the ag sector is identification of problem areas. So it could be weeds, it could be like nutrient deficient zones. And this is, it takes data, it takes time to compile this data. I think what's interesting about our approach, and just to be clear, yeah, this is in the process. We haven't commercialized this yet, but for agriculture, it requires like hyper localized models because a weed in one area might look totally different than like another part of the country. So you can't just have like one universal like Palmer pigweed, model. It's got to be like region specific. So we're actually creating an interface, and like let's call it a marketplace where individual users can kind of train their own model that works the best for their specific use case, and just kind of fine tune it and grow it to be optimized for their specific region. And so I say marketplace because you could be a farmer, and you go and you annotate, your bounding boxes on the machine learning side, and you create like an algorithm that works really well for identifying some weevil on your crop. You can go back to the Hylio marketplace, and you could go like basically open sources to other farmers on the Hylio platform. But you can make some money off of that, and we'll have like some sort of token system where it's like they're using your algorithm that you trained, and they're identifying weevils or whatnot in their field. Then you get some amount of compensation for that, right? So it's kind of like this like scalable, like crowdsourced, training interface that allows like for all these very specific models.
I saw a smaller drone out in your showroom today. Is that something you can talk about in this platform, or is that further down the roadmap?
Yeah,
for you?
so the Photon is the drone you're referring to,
Yes.
and it's Hylio's first product that's ISR focused. So this is like a
ISR for our audience, in case they don't know what that is.
yeah, intelligence,
And me.
surveillance, reconnaissance. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So this is kind of like shorthand for like it's a camera drone that's used to gather intel. And so that could be like on the defense side. That could also be just on the private side, like scanning, like we talk about scanning infrastructure, like any sort of like private use case too. But the point is like this drone is stacked with sensors. So RGB, high resolution RGB, thermal, laser rangefinder. It's modular in the sense that you could stick third-party sensors on it too. So you could fine tune it and kind of have a different loadout for different use cases. But of course, to your point, this is like a great hotbed for AI and ML because, I mean, there's the ag stuff we just talked about, but for an ISR, a general scout drone, you could be identifying people for like a defense application. You could be identifying traffic patterns for optimizing that, or like, accident response and whatnot. Identifying faults in bridges, and I keep going back to that. Identifying, even like the insurance application. Like my dad sells insurance. It's kind of a boring industry in my opinion, but you go out and inspect these roofs. You could automate that and be like, okay, I've got this machine learning model that can tell how old the roof is, or like how much damage there is, and underwrite kind of the policies for roof coverage. I mean, there's stuff that's as banal but important, economically as that. So the sky's the limit for.
Well, Arthur, we're going to end on this. What excites you most right now?
I think that no 2 days in this industry are the same, and like frankly, I think that's where the Hylio team thrives the best, given our upbringing as a company, just being like so reactive. And there's a great Game of Thrones line, right, which is like chaos is a ladder. And what excites me is that there's just so much up in the air right now, pardon the pun, that we can capture as a team of scrappy, like smart, driven people. It's the ultimate chaos is a ladder moment for the industry, and we're here for it.
Well, Arthur, thanks so much for having us out today to the Hylio hangar, what I'm calling it. Can everybody give a round of hands for Arthur? Thanks so much. Thanks to everybody who's been joining us from Start Engine, and thanks for joining us today from Richmond, Texas, in the Hylio hangar. And hope you all have a great weekend.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. All right.